Christine, how much does it hurt the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out?
It is devastating to the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out.
Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said, one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion. But
the WNBA finds itself in a devastating financial
And the truth is the truth, and the data is there. And what we saw when Caitlin was out the last time, the 5 games that she missed earlier in the season, the WNBA's viewership dropped more than 50%. Not just the Fever, but the entire league.
Quad injury jumped to her groin, likely because of compensation. But the thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen. That is what the Indiana Fever, that is what Caitlin need to avoid the best that they possibly can. So if it means that Caitlin is out for 3 weeks, if it means that she is out all the way through All-Star, then so be it. News is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA. At the end of this season, the WNBA will go into CBA negotiations. If negotiations go well, then every single player in the WNBA has a much better chance of making so much more in their next contract. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark and how they have treated her fans.
Imagine dedicating your entire being to a cause, achieving the peak of your profession, only to have your world shatter the moment you touch down thousands of miles from home. This isn't a fictional drama, it's the shocking truth behind the Golden State Valkyrie's brutal decision regarding one of their own, Julie Vanloo. At a time when the WNBA should be celebrating unprecedented growth, riding high on the so-called Caitlin Clark effect, a single, heartless move threatens to expose the league's deepest flaws and ignite a fan rebellion. This is a story of betrayal, cold corporate calculus, and a commissioner's haunting silence that could unravel everything the WNBA has fought so hard to build. Julie Vanloo wasn't just another player. She was a champion, fresh off a historic Eurobasket victory with the Belgian national team, where she played a pivotal role. Her performance was nothing short of legendary. Belgium's win wasn't just a trophy, it secured their spot in the 2026 World Cup, a career-defining moment for any international athlete. Vanloo wasn't just along for the ride, she earned a spot on the all-tournament second team, proving her immense value on the global stage. This was the pinnacle of her athletic dream, a moment that deserved parades, celebrations, and cherished time with her teammates and family. Yet, she chose a different path, driven by an unwavering loyalty to her WNBA team, the Golden State Valkyries. Vanloo made the ultimate sacrifice. She skipped every celebration, every parade, every moment of deserved revelry, choosing instead to embark on an arduous 18-hour flight, exhausted but resolute, believing she was returning home to her WNBA family. But her homecoming was no celebration. As Vanloo stepped off that plane, perhaps still disoriented from the marathon flight and the adrenaline of victory, reality hit like a freight train. She wasn't met with a welcome, a phone call, or even a respectful text message. Instead, the devastating news of her waiver from the Golden State Valkyries reached her not through her team, but through the cold, impersonal feed of social media. Literally just touched down in the Bay, she posted on Instagram her words, laced with raw disbelief and heartbreak. I need some time to process all of this and put my feelings into words. I can't right now. Imagine the whiplash. From the euphoria of a continental champion to the brutal, public humiliation of being jobless, all while still in her travel clothes, thousands of miles from the celebration she had willingly forsaken. It was a cruel, unprecedented level of corporate detachment. The Valkyries and their defenders quickly pointed to the WNBA's notoriously tight roster limits, just 12 players per team. Compared to the NBA's 15, they claim tough decisions had to be made, and that prioritizing a younger player like Caitlin Chin was vital for the franchise's future. Then came the widely circulated, yet profoundly questionable, Explanation for the timing: the team allegedly waited until VanLoo landed in the US to waive her, claiming it was a compassionate move to preserve her work visa and allow her a better chance to sign with another team. But let's be clear, this flimsy excuse offers no shelter from the storm of criticism. The Valkyries knew her flight plans. They knew her ETA to allow a dedicated player to make such a profound personal sacrifice, enduring a grueling journey believing she was returning to her team, only to blindside her with a public social media announcement upon arrival. Speaks not to a compassionate business decision but to a profound failure of human decency. It transformed a roster adjustment into an act of cold, calculated cruelty. And where, in this unfolding travesty, was the league's top leadership, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, the woman who has overseen the WNBA's meteoric rise from a $60 million to a $120 million league, remained conspicuously silent. While fans, players, and analysts raged, Engelbert offered no statement, no acknowledgement, no promise to investigate. This silence is deafening, particularly given the WNBA's current precarious success. The league is undeniably thriving, almost entirely due to the unparalleled star power of Caitlin Clark. When Clark plays, viewership numbers soar to 1.8 million. Without her, they plummet by a devastating 53%. This dependence highlights a critical vulnerability. If the league's prosperity hinges on public perception and fan engagement, how can its leader stand by while one of its franchises treats a player with such blatant disregard? Engelbert's inaction sends a chilling message. Player welfare takes a backseat to cold, hard business. Even when that business is built on the backs of those very players, the basketball world did not stay quiet. Emma Meisman, VanLoo's teammate on the Belgian national team and a former WNBA Finals MVP, absolutely went off, publicly stating, "No, making her miss a unique moment in Belgium is crazy." Behind the scenes, one can only imagine the fury. WNBA analyst Danny Barlavi echoed the sentiment. Simply put, you as an organization cannot allow this to happen. So unacceptable. The fan base, the very engine of the WNBA's recent surge, erupted in outrage. Social media was flooded with calls for boycotts, not just against the Valkyries, but the entire league. Fans demanded accountability, arguing that if this is how the WNBA treats its dedicated players, it hardly deserves their passionate support. This incident sent shockwaves through the international basketball community, leaving many overseas players to wonder if they'll be treated as valued athletes or mere disposable commodities by American franchises. This isn't an isolated incident, but a deeply troubling symptom of a recurring pattern within the WNBA. Remember the uproar surrounding Caitlin Clark's treatment during her rookie season, the hard fouls, the perceived targeting, the feeling that the league wasn't doing enough to protect its biggest star? The WNBA seems to have a knack for shooting itself in the foot just when things are going well. They finally have mainstream attention, lucrative television deals, and a burgeoning, engaged fan base. Yet, they allow stories like Julie VanLoo's to happen, reminding everyone that beneath the glossy surface of growth and excitement, this is still a league that struggles with fundamental respect for its players. The stakes couldn't be higher. The WNBA Players Association opted out of their current collective bargaining agreement, meaning critical negotiations for a new deal are happening right now. The Julie VanLoo situation is not just a footnote, it will be Exhibit A, a stark, painful reminder of why players are demanding better working conditions, higher salaries, and above all, basic human dignity. The Julie VanLoo situation is far more than a single player being waived. It's a defining moment for the WNBA. It laid bare everything that's still deeply flawed within a league, struggling to reconcile its newfound prosperity with its historic disregard for player welfare. Commissioner Engelbert cannot hide behind roster limits or strategic decisions. This was a catastrophic failure of leadership, a lack of vision, and a profound misjudgment of what it takes to build a truly sustainable, respected professional league. The Caitlin Clark effect may have pulled the WNBA from the brink of irrelevance, but stories like Julie VanLoo's have the power to send it spiraling back into the shadows. The WNBA stands at a critical crossroads. They can choose to build a future founded on respect, professionalism, and genuine partnership with their players, or they can continue down this path of treating athletes like expendable assets, hoping that the brilliance of a few stars will forever mask their deep-seated failures. Based on how they handled Julie VanLoo, the direction they're headed is dangerously clear, and it's Commissioner Engelbert who will ultimately have to answer for it when fans finally decide they've had enough.